Hey YouTube, welcome back to Universe X. Today, I have a video. Not just a video about all the coverage on the spoilers and stuff, because that will be coming, but this is actually about a deck profile. We got the chance to put Amani back on the channel, and I am always a fan of him coming on the channel for anything deck related, or just, review related, or anything related. I just like Amani's input, and you probably do too if you've been watching the channel for a while. But today, we're here with his Android 18 deck profile. Not something you normally see, but then again, he kind of has a rogue mentality with a lot of the decks until he feels like playing meta, and it's always generally a treat to see how it gets broken down. So before we get into the main bit, just want to give the normal plugs. If you haven't been to the Facebook group already, you should. The link will be in the description. It is the largest font of information for our card game. Tens of thousands of people in there, or so I'd like to believe. It's got a lot of people, and generally you're always going to be able to find somebody that shares like the same passion, same likes for certain leaders, things like that, and it's just a good community to be in general. Second, speaking of communities, I definitely have the Discord in the description as well. I'm not on there as much as I should be, but I'm trying to slowly work on that. But we have people that are in here talking all the time. It's a pretty cool place when I do happen to peep in. And past that, the last thing I was going to say is I am still trying to hit that road to 1,000. So if you like the content and want to keep seeing more, or you've been here a couple times and you may just want to finally tune in for the long haul, hit that subscribe button, and we'll go together on this ride. So without further ado, let's hop into the webcam portion so that Amani can show you his deck, break down his favorite plays, his cards, his techs, his choices, why, and you get to see into how this deck was built card by card. And so this table looks pretty dark right now. That's just because there's no cards on it. But on the other end of this camera, you have Amani once again on the channel. So first off, just thank you for being on here again as a guest. And for anybody who doesn't know who Amani is, I'm going to give him the chance to reintroduce himself. And if you do know who Amani is, you get to listen to his beautiful voice once again.
Oh, this is where I come in? Hi, everybody.
So, what do you have to show us today, sir?
Well, as you've already mentioned, it's Android 18. So we're on the webcam here. So sorry, it's a little dark. It is pretty late at night here, and my light setting is the best. But hopefully you can see it. I can see it. It's Android 18. So for a long time, I guess, I've been trying to play an Android 18 or an Android 21 because they are very interesting leaders, and they are personal favorites of mine in the show. I don't really care for a lot of the other characters in the show, but these are the interesting ones to me. This particular leader, though, I think she got a pretty nice boost once the extra Android support dropped from the Evolution booster. So I thought I'd give her a try, and I was really impressed with her outcome. So for people who don't know, when you put her in play, you start with Android 21 scheme in play. It's the only field spell that starts in play in this format that doesn't have barrier on it. Go figure. And then so Android 21 scheme creates 2 clone tokens on your opponent's side of the field at the start of the main phase, and then the first non-token battle card played each turn can't attack. And then of course when I play black battle cards, it goes straight to the drop area. So this card has to be in play in order for this deck to function, because the leader's ability and most of the other cards in the deck require you to sacrifice clone tokens to use them. So starting with the leader's ability, once per turn, you can sacrifice one of your opponent's clone tokens, and you can draw a card, you take a life, and you can bounce a 1-drop battle card from your opponent's board back to the hand. The draw card and take a life effect is mandatory. The bounce a battle card is optional. Course, so that's very important when considering there aren't too many game states where you want to bounce a 1-drop, simply because you're just going to give it back to your opponent. Especially if it's in rest mode and you're attacking, you can just give them back 5k combo power. But there are particular 1-drops that are a nuisance to this deck, like Black Man's Sand, for example, who will in fact trigger when you use Android 21 scheme. So that's a cool effect to have. She draws 2 when she flips over, and her backside is the reason why you play it. Because her backside, when you attack, you draw a card, and then you sacrifice a clone token during your main phase, and she reduces the combo cost of blue and green cards in your hand and your battle area by 1 for the remainder of the turn. So this is huge because this basically means that if your card costs 1 to combo with, you can combo with it for free. And this becomes a very, very big deal when it comes to combo phase because you can gain a tremendous amount of combo power when you don't pay cost on one cost 10Ks. So we're going to check that out in a second. This is basically why I like to play this. Move her to the side here. We'll get into the list. So first, let's talk about this card. It's one of the most important cards in the deck. We play 4 of the Android 13, the Super 13. This card's super important. This is basically the only way that this deck's even playable. This came out in the Evolution Booster. So it's a 2-cost Unison, blue Unison with a +2 ability. It's one of the first because it plays itself for free in rest mode by sacrificing one of your opponent's clone tokens. So you don't have to pay for it if you don't have the Unison in play already, and that allows it to come out as soon as your opponent makes clone tokens. The +2 ability gives your leader 5,000 power and makes it so that your opponent's clone tokens can't attack during the next turn. That's huge because that prevents you from getting pressured by a wall of clone tokens, so you're not afraid of how many clone tokens your opponent is getting because you need him to get them to use your effects, but at the same time you don't want to flood his board with clone tokens and then you're under pressure until you flip over. So that's a pretty necessary effect there, especially in the early game. And then his -4 is an activate battle that gives him 11,000 power and double strike during the battle. So it's a -4. I use it quite often, but the main reason you play it is because it can come into play if you go second. You want to go second in this deck more often. It comes into play on the first turn without spending any energy, so all of your Unison counterplays are live, and that gives you an insane amount of defense and counterplay ability starting through the gate on turn 1. So that's huge, and then your opponent will probably never be able to attack with clone tokens again. So definitely 4 of those. You want to mulligan for that card. Basically, if you don't see it, put your hand back until you do see it.
I can tell you from first-hand experience that card's annoying as crap sitting on the other side of the table.
Yeah, speaking of annoying as crap, bow. Here's the Majin Buu.
He said bow.
We played 2 of this card. This is an annoying card. So since we're on the topic of Unisons, I just went ahead to explain this one. This is a double strike blocker that has a cost of 4 and it's a 20k. It has a +0 during the main phase that draws a card, and then at the start of your opponent's next main phase, he will untap himself and untap one of your mono blue energy. Then he has a -1 that when your opponent attacks with a battle card, you can bottom deck one of his battle cards in play. So this card is a very, very, very huge card, both for offense and defense, because it's able to do both. You can attack with double strike and then untap it and untap an energy, block with it, bottom deck a card. It's so powerful on defense that it's almost necessary to have an answer to it if you want to be able to progress to kill this deck. Like, without dealing with this card, I very, very rarely see game states where I lose before this card has been dealt with. It's so powerful, and it's so hard to get rid of once it hits board if you have the proper setup for it. So, play 2 of it though. It can get kind of cloggy if you play too many in this deck. This is still like an offensive deck. So, going into the Androids, play 3 of Android 16. This one, I go back and forth between 2 and 3 of this card. It's not a necessary 3 of, it's fine to play it at 2, but this is one of the cards that you do want to see. You will find quite often that without this card, you are going to run out of clone tokens faster than you would like to. When you get into the middle of the deck, you're going to start to see why it's important to have more clone tokens than just the 2 per turn that you summon. This card says that while it's in play, anytime your opponent gets clone tokens by a skill, by an extra card skill, namely your field spell, they will get 2 additional clone tokens. So at the start of each of their main phases, they will get 4 tokens instead of 2. While it's in play, they can't attack with the tokens, and for the purpose of balancing this card, you can't combo with this card from the board. And that's because its bottom effect is an activate main that lets you summon it from your hand or from your discard pile for free by sacrificing a clone token. So it's obviously meant to balance it, that you can't combo from the board with it, and it's unique. So you can't just loop it infinitely by sacrificing all of your opponent's clone tokens. But it's still necessary because it creates 4 tokens a turn. That's significantly more than the 2 that you're normally going to make, and you need to have many clone tokens in the mid game to fuel your effects. We'll see in a second.
Did your camera just go off?
Alright. So onto the Android 18s. This one, play 4 of Let the Battle Begin. This came out in Evolution Booster. I think this card is insane. Outside of Dark Broly, this card is insane. This card is a pain in the behind for basically any other deck in the game. It's a 4-drop blocker, but because your leader is an android, and when you have a unison with a specified cost of 2 in play, it reduces its cost to 1 during your opponent's turn. When your opponent plays a 4-drop or lower, you can counter that card and play this card instead. It's a 15k blocker, and it's an Android 18. So it's important that it's Android 18 because you need Android 18 attackers in the deck, because you use Krillin to gain double strike. You don't play Champas in the deck, and I'll explain that in a second. So the fact that this is an Android 18 is a big deal, but the biggest part about this is when you play the Unison, the Super 13 Unison on turn 1 in rest mode for free, you don't spend the energy, which means that this card is live as soon as this card hits the board on turn 1. So you can counterplay starting from your first energy and going pretty much up as long as it has a target. Not only does it stop the card from coming into play, but it's also a blocker. So between this card and Android's 21 scheme, you can lock down a significant number of attacks in the early game, because the first battle card that comes in play can't attack. And then if another battle card enters play, you can counter with this card, and then this card can block another attack. So that's very powerful for your defense game.
I'm just getting like Vietnam flashbacks watching half these cards get explained.
LOL. So now we go to this card. This card is Pincer Attack. This card came out of the latest tournament pack, and this card is really not good anywhere outside of this deck. So, but in this deck, it plays a very, very unique role, because this is the only card right now that allows you to search for Krillin. So when you combo with it, you can sacrifice one of your opponent's clone tokens and you search for a Krillin from your deck and add it to your hand. Then, at the end of a battle phase, since your leader's Android 18, you can pay a blue energy to summon this card. So not only does this card give you the double strike, but this card creates the body that can then attack for double strike. So this card is very good for both for attacking and defending. Now, if you get really good with the sequencing in the deck, you will find that in most cases, when you're putting cards back into the deck for your super combos and things, that you'll be able to shuffle Krillin's back and combo pincer attacks to go right back in and get them, so you don't lose negative card advantage. Also, when you're comboing, remember that this card is capable of being summoned either player's turn. So if you need Android 18s to counterattack with, you can summon this using some free energy on your opponent's turn as well. It's a 3 of, because it's the only card in the deck that actually cannot come foil.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. That makes sense.
Yeah.
The Amani logic.
2 Android 18 full of rage. So this is a blue-green Android 18. You don't charge green in this deck. You actually don't charge anything but blue if you can help it. But this card, because of your leader's ability, you can combo with blue and green cards for free. So this card can be a free combo, and this card arrivals for a blue energy. So it's very easy to combo a green card because you play Cell in the deck as like a super combo here. And then you can summon this card for a blue, and it's an Android 18. It's slightly higher on the energy cost, but it's still pretty much in the counter window range of every counterplay, just like the other 18s are. The important part of this card is that it has an activate battle that removes itself from the field and bounces a battle card with a cost of 4 or less from your opponent's side of the field. So this can be used in battle as a removal, maybe for something that's attacking, or even for something that's in your way, or even as another attacker. It only costs 1, so as long as it's cheap like that, it makes a good attacker, and that's basically what it's there for. Just don't charge it, there's not really a reason to. So on to the super combos. And if you could see me, you would have seen me air quote that, because some of these are a little more super than others.
I think you should put the air quotes in front of the camera just so they can see the air quotes. Oh, there we go.
Super combos.
I'm gonna replay that in slow motion.
This is an obvious super combo. This is Vegeta. It's the bottom deck, draw 2 super combo. 4 less life, the free blue super combo. This is Cell. I play 4 of these. This normally costs an energy and draws a card when you combo with it. But when you have your leader's ability active during your turn, you can combo with this card for free. So this is basically another super combo in the deck. And then 4 quick shift Majin Boos. This one is kind of a -1 out of the hand because you have to shuffle 2 cards back into the deck and then draw 2. So when you combo with it, you do lose a card in the hand because you take 3 out and draw 2 back. But this card is also a 110k, so you can charge this and use this with Galactic Buster, which is also in the deck, and that would mean that you will draw a card from Galactic Buster and then combo this. And that makes it a break even and a very good defensive combo card. I'll get into that later, that's more in the strategies, but these are the ideal cards you're comboing with. You want to use these as often as possible when you're defending and use these more aggressively because these are not free on the defense step. You can run out of energy rather quickly, so you want to be careful with that. And then these are just the only solid 2 for 2s. So if you're really digging for something, this will get you further in the deck than any of these will. So it's important to note that when you're looking for a way to survive, you generally want to use these on your opponent's turn. But of course, when you're swinging aggressively, you can use them whenever you want to.
Sweet, sweet.
Here's the Double Strike Krillin. So it's 4 of these. Now, this card is a 1-cost 5, which makes this one of the worst cards to have during the defense step. However, I would strongly suggest not to cut this card down lower than 4. Sometimes I play it at 3, and other times I'll play it at 4, and I'll add a Champa in because it only works with Android 18 attackers. But the reason why I leave it at just 4 all the time is because without it, you can't create Double Strike in the deck. And the reason you don't want to play Champa is because when you're attacking, this card is a free combo. When you attack using Champa, you have to pay 1 to combo with it. And so when you get to that point, most of the time you don't mind paying 1 to combo, but there are certain game states where not being able to use Champa makes it a dead card. This card's still blue. It's still a 1-cost, so you can target it with Galactic Buster. You can search it anywhere in the deck using the Pincer Attack Android 18. And whenever you find that it's unnecessary as a combo card, it makes a good blue charge. Also, this card is a blocker, and you can summon it after you combo with it on your turn by paying a blue energy. This card is often used for me twice in a turn, because when you combo with it from your hand, you give an Android 18 Double Strike, then you pay a blue energy, and you summon it, and then you can combo it for free from the board and give another Android 18 Double Strike. So it has that use in that it can create multiple Double Strikes per card. So it just extends further, and that's usually worth the 1 cost that it is. 9 times out of 10, if you find it in your hand on the defense step, you're either not going to combo with it or you're going to put it back in the deck. So it doesn't usually get in the way, and you have a plethora of combo cards. This card doesn't ever get in the way on defense step. If you start drawing them, don't get stressed out and try to hold on to them. Just charge them, put them back in the deck. You'll get them when you need them. You go through so many cards in this deck, you'll find it. Just don't stress if you start drawing them, charge them, it's fine. Most of the time, you'll only use 2 to close a game anyway.
I feel like I saw that guy come out way more than twice, but that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, you'll pretty much get it whenever you need it, as often as you need it. Trust me, you'll draw it. Defense cards, 3 God Sealing and 3 Prospects. Both of these are live starting from turn 1 in the optimal game state. These are extremely powerful cards on turn 1. God Sealing pretty much never falls off. There are only a few cards in the game that God Sealing can't touch, and most cards that it can touch are way more expensive than 0, because this card costs 0. I don't know why. Prospect is Not as powerful as it used to be in format. There's less Dark Broly in the format than it was originally when Prospect came out, but this is still kind of a necessary evil because Dark Broly is such a hard matchup for this deck, specifically because of how much attack power the Dark Brolys have. It just forces you to combo so many cards on defense that in most cases it doesn't even matter that you're comboing super combos because you're spending so many resources to stop 30Ks from hitting your base 15s. So Prospect is very useful there in trying to stop that bleeding. And in other cases, it's just a 1 energy 15K that happens to play as a negate. Now, I will say this, please, please, please do not be like me. I do not main deck Dimension Magic only because I don't have it foil. If you play this deck, put these in your side and main deck 3 Dimension Magics. Please don't be like me. I was dropped on my head quite a few times as a baby. Don't be like me.
Oh man.
Play Dimension Magic is the best blue negate that I think in existence. Play Dimension Magic first. If you find space, you can play Prospects, but do not play these over Dimension Magic just because I told you. Do as I say, don't do as I do. Okay. The Almighty Baby Hatch.
The almighty operative word.
If your leader is blue, you play this SCR, no arguments. This SCR negates an attack, and then your opponent can't attack again, so it skips their turn. This SCR, when used properly, basically is like a time walk if you played Magic. It gives you 2 turns in a row. You do everything that you can, you tap out, you attack as many times as you can, you overextend as hard as possible, you all in if you need to, and then when your opponent goes to clap back, you reveal Baby Hatch, and then you get to do it all over again. It is brilliant. Do it. It's very strong. Don't play another secret rare in blue as long as this one exists.
But what about Paiku?
Next card. Double Monkey. Golden Avenger Baby. It's a 5-drop blue. So in most cases, this is going to be the last card you play in the game. Because by the time you charge the 5, your opponent's not dead. It's because they're clutching some negate that's going to stop them from dying. So you need this card to stop that negate from stopping you from killing them. This is also the only barrier removal in the main deck. So if you find yourself stuck, you may find that you have to play this card to remove barrier cards because they're just in the way. 9 times out of 10, you're going to use this as a counter while you try to kill your opponent. It is a 110, so it charges. You can combo with it with Galactic Buster. If you play it for 5, you draw a card, and then you can combo with it for free. It's no big deal if you have to tap out to summon it at any time. As long as you're attacking, you can combo with almost everything in your deck for free, so it doesn't matter if you spend all your energy on this attack, as long as it's a swing for game. If it's not a swing for game, this card's a 30k triple strike. Somewhere in this equation, you have to produce a lethal swing. Otherwise, you're just wasting this card. It's an incredible card, and it has to be in this deck because counters are like the only thing that stop this deck. And blockers. This deals with both of them at the same time.
So you said blockers will wall this deck?
They can, but since the monkey counters counterplays and then counters counterattacks and then comes into play and bottom decks blockers, it can deal with both at the same time. Blockers, enough blockers will wall this deck. Enough blockers. Especially barrier blockers. King Piccolo is like one of the hardest matchups for this deck because of drum. You just can't beat it. On to extra cards. So you got 3 Ultra Instinct Kamehamehas because we don't play enough 10k combos that do something else. This card is 15k power. On your turn, you tap 1 and you draw a card, gain 15k. On your opponent's turn, you tap 1, gain 15k, and then untap 1. This card is insane. On defense, this is literally just a free 15k. This card is huge. On offense, this card's a 15k draw 1. Keep in mind, this cannot be used on unison cards. So if you're going for game with like the Majin Buu unison or the Super 13 unison, make sure that before you do, you try these cards to use these cards on battle cards or leader cards. They don't do anything against when you're attacking with a unison other than draw a card. That's not worth the 1 energy. You will not get that energy back, and this is probably the only card you're going to combo with on offense that you spend energy on. So you want to make that count. 3 Senzu Beans. I went back and forth with 3 and 4 this card. I think that it is important to have it in the deck somewhere because it's an excellent card. It's very good for avoiding poke damage, and that's one of the major things to this deck. Because so much of your combo power is high and costly on defense step, you can get poked. So like you can get attacked by a swarm of 15Ks and look down and only have one cost 10Ks in your hand. Not only are you over comboing to block those, but you're also wasting excessive combo power and energy. So not only are you getting weaker on your defense step, but you are progressively weakening your offense step as well. You don't want to do that. So Senzu Bean comes in because it makes you much stronger on defense primarily. Sometimes you will use it aggressively, especially when you're attacking for game, but you don't spend energy to combo, so it's not as common on offense. It's very effective on defense. The defense game is really important in it. And lastly, you have the 3 Galactic Busters. I think this is 53 cards. You started with Scheme in play, so it's basically 52. So it's 3 Galactic Busters here, and this card is crucial. It's one of the newer cards. It's free, so it costs 0. And since your leader is mono blue, when you activate it, you choose a card in your energy area with a combo cost of 1, a blue card, mono blue card, and you draw a card. Then you combo with that card from your energy area. And if it's your opponent's turn, you place this card in your energy area in active mode. And then at the end of the battle, you switch one of your energies into rest mode. So this card is brilliantly designed because when you're using it for defense, it replaces itself, number 1, because you'll draw a card. Then you can put 10k combo power out of your energy area into your combo and move this card. Even if that 10k is in rest mode, this card will go to your energy in active mode. So it's basically a draw 1, a 10k combo, and an untap 1 in the same battle phase. That's huge. This allows you to play much more aggressively because it allows you to untap energy in the middle of a battle step. This card here is the ultimate punish for the bait when your opponent all-ins you because you're tapped out and they know that all your cards cost energy to combo with on defense step. So you go Galactic Buster, and then you Senzu Bean, and then you drop all your Ultra Instinct Command Mans, and you use Super Combo, and before you know it, you put 150k on the board from 0 energy. It's mind-blowing. The best part of this deck is not the crazy Mirror Champa attack. Every attack is a Mirror Champa. It's the defense game that you can play without effectively burning through any cards in your hand. Like you're just super comboing over, like Chinimba, like the old Chinimba. Just super comboing over and over and over and cycling cards on defense. And your opponent just can't keep up because you can put out so much aggressive power because you don't spend any energy to do it. So all your defense game is active. So that's the really good part about this. That's why it's not just an aggro deck, it's a mid-range deck. Because you have to be able to play the defense game even better than you play the offense. Everybody knows how to sideways a card and combo everything out of their hand for free and keep drawing cards and be like 150k. It's not hard. You have to be able to pilot effectively on defense step because that's when stuff costs. So you got to be careful with your steps, comboing your cards in this right sequence. You know, you want to combo yourselves first because that's a card off the top. Then you combo your quick shifts because you got to shuffle dead cards back into your deck. Then you'll combo your super combos in case you draw dead cards from the quick shift draw, put them back to the bottom. So sequencing is important. It really is important. Tap out before you play your buster, then untap, then maybe Senzu Bean so you have an energy open. Stuff like that matters on defense. On offense, none of that matters. Combo away, do whatever you want to, make the number you see in your head, make your opponent take the damage, and then you win. So you really got to practice the defense game with this one. But that's the deck.
So, that being said, what do you feel like your deck's best and worst matchups are with this build?
So the absolute 100% worst matchup, pretty much auto loss to the main deck, is Baby. You can't beat it. You don't have any answer to the fact that they can negate pretty much every attack and every guy. You don't enter the combo step. You can have a million cards in your hand and they will all be useless because you're going to get 17'd, you're going to go to 0, and then you're going to get destroyed. So it doesn't really matter how much combo power you can produce, how much great energy management you and all this nonsense, because you'll never get a combo step. Worst matchup, 100%. And they're the only ones that actively produce counters to your counters to their counterattacks. That's double unfortunate. Worst deck. Second worst, probably going to be King Piccolo, because they're the only ones that produce simultaneously free negates, free counterplays, and free barrier blockers all in the same combo step or all in the same defense turn. That's aggravating. I mean, that's really aggravating. Like, after turn 2, once they flip over, they can pretty much drum you every turn. You will not be able to break through drums. You don't have barrier blocker removal, even remotely close to cheap. The best barrier blocker removal in this color is a 3-cost Barrier of Hope. And that's just not efficient for a card that has effectively been played for free so that you can attack into another free negate. That's just not cool.
He said, kids, that ain't the way.
Yeah, I mean, they play the Fathead, who summons for free, who happens to be a double strike blocker, just in case you want to block with them. They summon the barrier blocker for free. They play the Yamcha for free. The Piccolo Jr. is free, so you can't counterplay the blocker Android 18 because they're going to blow it up, so you don't even get your counter effect. Second worst matchup. Outside of that, everything else that I've run into, I really haven't had much trouble with, simply because they either can't produce enough defense in time, or they can't produce enough offense to break through. So you do play like a bit of a slow resource game, but nobody else inherently plays a defense game stronger than my offense game can play, while simultaneously playing an offense game stronger than my defense game. Like, you have to be better on both sides, and that's just not common. So not too much trouble with most decks, especially once you slap the Blue Unison down. You're almost unkillable before you have to baby hatch. You can go block with a Blue Unison, -1 a battle card, Scheme stops a battle card, you counterplay 18, you stop a battle card, then you block with her for another battle card, you still have God Sealing, you still have a million combo power in your hand. Yeah, this is without me main decking Dimension Magic. I get away with it, but don't do that. Also make sure you're maining Dimension Magic. So the defense game is crazy, and then with every sideways card being a Mirror Champa, most decks just run out of negates and they just have to fight a combo phase that they can't win. And most decks are playing from 4 to begin with, so you only need 2 attacks to go through. This is very simple.
Alright, I mean, that's pretty tight. So did you have any closing tips to anybody that may want to pick up the deck?
Play Dimension Magic, number 1.
Yeah.
Number 2, be really practice sequencing, especially when it comes down to using Galactic Buster. Really practice sequencing. Practice sequencing, because when you play this many super combos and they all draw from different spaces, you have to be mindful of which order you're comboing your super combos in, so that you don't end up drawing dead cards, because you can draw a lot of dead cards, especially in the defense step, and Quick Shift reshuffles the deck. So if you combo like your super combos and you bottom deck all these dead cards, and then you Quick Shift and you put 2 dead cards in and then shuffle your deck, you've just dramatically increased the likelihood of redrawing those dead cards again. So little things like that will make or break whether or not you get to the cards you need. In some variants, I've switched Quick Shift for Obuni because he just bottom decks 1 and draws 1. You can do that if you're having trouble keeping yourself from drawing those dead cards again. Quick Shift is the only card that shuffles on defense step. So if you're having trouble with constantly drawing dead cards from Quick Shift, just cut it. Play Obuni instead. It's safer. It's 1 down, 1 up, so you don't draw those cards ever again. Learning little simple interactions, like when you combo Pincer Attack and then combo Krillin, you are the active. If you're active player, you can resolve your autos in whichever order. So if you want to play through Scheme, you can summon Krillin first and then summon Pincer Attack, and then you can attack with Android 18 and combo the Krillin to gain double strike again. Things like that matter. You can combo Pincer Attack in a combo step, remove a clone token, search a Krillin, then combo that Krillin right behind it, remove another clone token, and gain double strike. So little things like that, once you learn those interactions, you really can maximize the efficiency of the deck, and you can just kill out of nowhere. From empty board states, from 4, 6, 8 life, I've killed from 8 life plenty of times before. It's just so much combo power that it doesn't matter how many cards they're picking up from life, because you're able to out-combo them every time. And most importantly, when you go to your side deck especially, you can summon black battle cards. You just discard them after you resolve them, but you can summon black battle cards. So you can use cards like Deborah. If your opponent is using hand destruction, you can use Shroud of the Mystery Fu, which is the only tool you really have against Baby. If it resolves, it'll still lock them down. You just can't leave it on the board. You can use cards like Mechikabura. You're free to play your energy offensively defensively as often as you want to, so don't trip too much in the early game about tapping energy effectively, because you can combo from 0 energy on both sides, offense or defense step. So if you need to play cards for higher costs, you can side in higher cost cards to gain more effectiveness. Like you can use Riot Javelin, or you can use Barrier of Hope to deal with Slug. Slug will totally shut your deck down if anybody's playing it. You can deal with cards like that and spend your energy, and you don't have to worry about being tapped out. So don't trip about that. Just make sure you have the right card for the right situation. That's what matters most. And that's it. I hope you have fun with it.
Alrighty then. Well, thank you guys for staying tuned for this deck profile. As always, it's not just like a, hey, here's my stack of 50-something cards. Like Amani loves to explain why his card choices are his card choices, so that you don't even have to like have guesswork when you're trying to pick up a deck that he's been playing. You already have like a pretty extensive insight to just the deck in general. So I hope you guys really liked his Android 18 deck. If you guys have any other cards that you like playing or you didn't see in this video you just want to talk about, just leave it in the comments. And yeah, I'll just take it back to Facecam and kind of close up the video real quick. So yeah, nice beefy video. We got about 35 minutes of nice Android 18 Android content. Yeah, look, like I said, when Amani gets on the camera, you know you're going to be in for a very meaty, in-depth, analytic look at a deck. So I hope you guys enjoyed the longer format for the content, and I'm going to get right back into spoilers and speculation for the next set. So yeah, stay tuned. Like I said, if you like the content, think about hitting that subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time inside of Join Universe X. Later.